Hello, and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And for this one, it is Tubular Bells, which was released by CRL. I could end the video there, really. It's by CRL. You know the sort of quality you're going to get. Now, this wasn't actually marketed as a game, and it's a good job, really, because it's not one. And it was actually marketed as an experience. Now, today, software, whether it's gaming or not, that is marketed as an experience, that's a warning telling you this thing you're about to play and have probably just bought is going to be a fucking load of shit. Well, back in the days of the Commodore 64, when they marketed software or games or whatever as an experience, it was exactly the same then. It was going to be shit. Now, I can only think of two such, programs that were marketed as experiences. This is one. The other was Deus Ex Machina, which I may eventually review at some point, but it is the biggest load of pretentious bollocks ever to infest the Commodore 64. Anyway, because with this being an experience that is based on an album, not just any album, one of the greatest prog rock recordings ever made, the music needs to be phenomenal. As you've already heard, the music in this is not phenomenal. Anyway, so space to start or I for instructions. So we'll bring up the instructions. I wish I could remember when this came out. I think it was either 86 or 87. So it's, it's basically just showing you the keys. That's all there are. So, right, space to start. Here we go. And what you are seeing here, this is it. Now, if, like me, you were a particular fan, especially during the Amiga era, you were a big fan of like the public domain demos and intros and all that sort of thing, you'll remember all of this, sort of, change this. It is interactive to a degree. And you'll remember seeing, stuff like this, but with much better music and much better graphics on display. And you will probably particularly remember that those things were released as public domain titles. They were free. If you bought them, I say bought, if you got them, on mail order, you basically paid for a blank floppy disk. This was a full price title when this came out. And even when this was released, there were such public domain sort of demos on the Commodore 64 which did pretty much the same thing. And they were free as well. I mean, I flick again through the laser thing and the synchronous lights, and I can change the colours and change the sequence in which the colours go, and speed this thing up and slow it down. But this is all you do. And if you forget what the keys are, you just press escape and it takes you back to the main page so you can check on them. And I've shown you everything. So let's go on to the next piece of music. Well, I mean, going on to the next piece of music just takes you to the next sort of like assault on the ears. I mean, when CRL have the nerve to charge you, you know, full price for this, they had to do a fucking better job of the music at the very least. But no, I mean, I don't doubt for a moment that the SID chip probably could do a fairly decent job of Tubular Bells, but this isn't it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Oldfield. The first Tubular Bells album that he did, I think, is, you know, pretty good, but everything else, pretty forgettable stuff. I mean, he did seem to become better known as like an electronic music, you know, performer rather than prog rock. I suppose you can see why, but let's face it, Jean-Michel Jarre, he ain't. You know, Tangerine Dream, Kraftwerk, they had nothing to worry about from him. He really was a one-trick pony. And then comes this, and this really is pony. I know it may seem a bit ludicrous, but I genuinely have shown you everything that you do with this. You know, you can change the speed, or at least you're supposed to be changing the speed. I'm pressing the keys to do it, but you can't really see very much. You can also change the gaps between the lines. Again, not that you can really see it. And yeah, so I'm changing between the line here and then this sort of flashing laser thing, which then changed by itself, so I'll change it again. And you can change the colours. And that's it. And did people at CRL really think that people would pay, you know, full price? I think it was actually slightly below full price now I think about it, but it was still like $7.99. And when the Amiga came along, you could get 4 public domain demos, all of which were better than this, and all of which had, you know, more music and vastly superior graphics that weren't just lines floating around everywhere. You had, well, to begin with, you had fucking copper bars, but I got sick of the sight of them, and then you had blitter objects, I got sick of the sight of them. But eventually they did start doing stuff that was a damn sight more interesting. Oh, fucking hell. So yeah, I think that, yeah, so you paid $7.99 to sit at the computer watching this rather crappy light show and listen to this dreadful rendition of Tubular Bells. In fact, you may as well mute this and stick the Tubular Bells album on. Let's face it, back in the day, most people had that album. of course, the problem is, if I was to put an extract of the album on here, it would then get a copyright strike. But I very much doubt I'll get that here, because it just bears so little resemblance to the album anyway. I can't imagine that it's going to even be picked up by the DMC or whatever the fucking hell it is. So let's get the review underway, such as it is. Graphics are staggeringly bland. The 64 is capable of better than this. The music is... it's a terrible rendition. I just don't know what the fuck they were thinking. And then, well, obviously gameplay, I mean, yeah, it's pressing a few keys at a certain times to change how the pattern looks, and for anybody within like the first, you know, I'll be generous, the first 2 minutes, you just get bored. And you don't actually, you know, you don't do anything. You find like the one setting you want and think, right, okay, that's it, and then you just sit there. And yet, of all the games that were, say, marketed as experiences, like I say, I only really know this one and Deus Ex Machina. This is not the worst. I mean, you know, it does have that redeeming feature. It's not Deus Ex Machina. So yeah, so I score this, well, noughts, because it is a nothing. It was a shit idea. I don't know who the fuck at CRL decided to give this the green light, but that was not a good move. Although I have to say, it's still better than some of CRL's actual game releases. That really is setting the bar very low though. So there you go, Tubular Bells by CRL. What a fucking waste of time. 0 out of 10. That brings this review to an end. Thank fuck. And we'll see you at the next one.